Your financial needs aren't independent of each other, so your financial advisors shouldn't be either. At Mercantile Bank, our experienced United Wealth professionals are united to serve you and your complete financial planning and wealth management needs. Are you just starting your investment journey or need to roll over a retirement plan? Do you need to plan for a loved one with special needs or for your own life after work? Maybe your business needs a succession plan or you want to enhance your employee benefit programs. Whatever steps you need to take, our United Wealth experts are ready to take them with you. Together, we are united.
Hi, this is Ron Kinscherf. Welcome to the Business Spotlight here at Muddy River News. It's brought to you by Mercantile Bank and Rober and Phillilps Attorneys at Law. We have Frankie Giesing from Walter Lewis Fluid Technologies, which used to be Walter Lewis Chemicals. Why is it now Walter Lewis Fluid Technologies?
So in the middle 90s, we decided that it would be a lot cheaper for our insurance premiums if we took the word chemicals.
Well, there's more to it than that.
I'm assuming. Than that, yeah.
Let's go to the more to it type scenario here with why you made that change.
We just really just upped the ante and did a lot more stuff. So we went from just blending specialty chemicals to building reverse osmosis units, water softeners, DI bottle controlling. We build our own controllers. So it's, do you want to hear the quick history?
Yeah.
So in 1965, my grandfather, Walter Julius, so he lived at 36th and State over on Holford Drive, right next to Knights of Columbus. And he invited his son, Walter Lewis Giesing, to come back from college. He was going to St. Louis University at the time, pursuing a bachelor's in chemistry.
Did he get the bachelor's?
He got the bachelor's degree. And he got the chemistry degree. Upon graduation, NASA kind of saw, some of these really smart kids come out of St. Louis U and other universities around the country and said, hey, come over here, and because, we're trying to land on the moon.
Right.
So Wally at the time, Walter Lewis Giesing, said no to NASA. I'm going to go help my dad. He needs some help over here. And his dad was
in his garage.
In the garage.
Right.
36th and State, back when there was probably nothing across. As a matter of fact, I've asked my dad, Walter Lewis Giesing, about this. I'm like, what was that like? He's like, well, that was the edge of town.
There was an A&W out that way too.
There was?
I believe so, yeah.
Well, across the street though, there's a field back there. So then he used to ride his bike and play and build stuff out.
Nobody would go out that way.
No, there's that wasn't like, I think the city limits was 36th Street.
Very well could have been, yeah.
Not sure, but so 1965 is when they started building the company, and they got their start from a paper mill. A paper mill said, can you produce a filming amine for our paper? And I can't tell you exactly all the chemistry of what a filming amine means, but went through all of this work. And so people started saying, oh, you can custom make a chemical for a paper mill.
Right.
What about a boiler or a cooling tower? So they started formulating specialty chemical formulations for these different heating systems, like heat exchange systems.
So when did they move down to where they're at right now?
Early 70s.
Early 70s, okay.
And something interesting about this building over here. So Walter Lewis Chemicals, DBA, Walter Lewis Fluid Technologies, has an interesting history of that building. So that building there used to be called Modern Iron Works.
Okay.
And it used to be like a whole campus of these huge brick buildings. And are you familiar with the Singer, the sewing pedal?
Yeah.
So in Quincy, the number one producer of the Singer
sewing pedals
was made in the Modern Ironworks building on 5th and Ohio. I mean, we were essentially, this really helped the war effort. I'm being dead serious.
Right.
So we have one or two of those kind of laying around, and we also have a couple of these old iron baby little furnaces, like wood burning stoves. So they used to make wood burning stoves here, and the Singer laundry pedal. Yeah,
that's crazy. So you started with the paper mill solution, and then people found out that you guys are really good at doing that, and then they got some ideas that, okay, well, let's morph into some other type of chemical treatments. Now, were the chemical treatments you were creating always involving water in some fashion, generally?
Generally speaking.
Okay, and that's how you got to where you are today, right?
Yeah.
Through the water type solutions?
Right. So generally speaking, there's this joke in the water treatment industry that
I'm sure it's a great one.
it's not that funny. Well, so it's not really a joke. It's kind of serious. So when water doesn't move, it creates all kinds of problems.
Okay.
And when you heat up water, it causes problems.
Okay.
And then when you have hot water and you try to cool it, it causes problems.
So is that you help move the water and then you help heat it and cool it where there are no problems?
The number one thing that we do is we take any existing system and we build a custom system with our own controllers, pumps, plumbing, sample loops, blended treatments of these big drums full of chemicals.
Right.
And we build all the PLC, all the ladder logic. We are a chemical delivery system manufacturer.
For water systems.
For water
Primarily.
systems.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's the number one thing that we do. I mean, we build reverse osmosis units and water softeners. But the number one thing is, so like, let's say you've got a boiler in your house.
Right.
We're not going to build your boiler. We're not going to try to fix your boiler. If something goes wrong with your boiler, call a boiler inspector. Call somebody who works on actual boilers. What we do is we will make sure that your boiler doesn't corrode, doesn't scale, and functions well.
Okay.
Like, we just make sure that it works well.
But you don't do home type solutions, correct?
Oh, man, so not anymore.
Okay.
So if you were around in the 70s and the 80s and the early 90s, you could walk right into Walter Lewis at 5th and Ohio. And we were wall to wall with pool chemicals. We had so much stuff. I mean, we would invite people into our shop and say, you know, kind of what do you want help with? But we have kind of steered away from residential.
So is water in its purest form good for you?
In its purest form?
Yeah.
No.
So
it's terribly corrosive.
you help make water usable to a degree?
This is kind of interesting. So I think you may find this interesting. Water in its natural state is not quote unquote pure.
Okay.
And what I mean by pure, I'm not saying that you can't drink water right out of a stream or a spring. I'm not saying you can't. Fresh
But
water
it's moving,
stuff.
which helps.
It's
I
moving.
learned that today.
Right. But so that natural water, so if you're pulling water out of a spring, and there's springs, you know, like there's Hummel Spring in Liberty.
Yeah.
That's like gold. It's beautiful. It comes right out of the earth. Perfect. But that water has ions in it. It has calcium, magnesium. It's got all different kinds of salts in it. When you rip the ions out of the water, which is what we do a lot of times, the water becomes corrosive. As a matter of fact, when you're drinking bottled water,
Yeah.
like Aquafina is Pepsi, Dasani is Coke. What those companies do is they rip everything out of the water. Everything.
Why?
Because they have to.
Okay.
Okay? They have to. So, for example, like city water. So we're drinking fluoride in our tap water. I mean, I don't drink tap water. But, you know, ironically, I just want to clarify. Quincy water is very good relative to the rest of the world, relative to other parts in America. It's some of the best water in the world, but it's all relative.
Right.
Am I going to drink it? No, because it's got chloramines in it. It's got fluoride. I'm out.
Well, you know more about, yeah.
Well, it's like when you drink really good, like purified water, when you drink that over and over and over again, and you switch back to tap water, it just smells like pool water because of all the chloramines in it. It's just kind of nasty. But shout out to Tyler Kaufman at Eco Water. If you are a residential customer and you want really good pure water in your house, call up Eco Water because they make, we make ROs that have 350 gallons per minute. As ROs that can fill this room. Tyler at Eco Water makes really nice, smaller packages, custom packages for use in residential homes. We are big. So for example, if the Navy calls us and says, give us an RO on our aircraft carrier, we can do that, and we have.
Okay. So back to where we were.
Yeah.
You help businesses get their water to the degree where they can use it, or do you help with the water after it's used?
So it's their choice. So sometimes businesses, okay, we've got really big businesses in Quincy that need purified water in their paints. So imagine just taking city water and dump it into paint.
Right.
That's not as good as having super, super, super pure water, free of bacteria, free of all ions, no calcium, no no salts,
So
no
like the
solids.
Napides of the world, the Titans of the wheel, where have to do a lot of painting.
Absolutely.
They need their
And
paint to
Napide and Titan Wheel are
Okay.
very good friends, and
Okay.
we do all kinds of work for their ROs. Now, those same companies that I just listed and more, all around Quincy, from ADM to Fibro to, I mean, just all over, from QMG to Blessing Hospital, they've got boilers and cooling towers. When you heat up water and you cool down water, if you don't treat it with chemicals, and this is not this is not potable water that you're drinking or bathing
Right.
in. This is for process. This is for like when you're trying to make stuff, trying to make goods, and you heat and cool the water. If you don't put chemicals in it, you are going to waste fuel. You're going to waste water. You're going to pour perfectly good water right down the drain.
So what's it like to get a phone call from the U.S. Navy saying, hey, we got a new aircraft carrier we're building. You guys want to put something in it?
Well, this happened.
That's what I'm getting.
There
It's
was
like,
an aircraft carrier.
You just called, I'm Frankie. Come on, really.
There was an aircraft carrier over there in Seattle, over there in the Puget Sound area,
Mm-hmm.
and they called us up, and they said, we want you to build two semi-trailers full of equipment, and here's exactly what we want, and here are the hardcore specs. This is like a massive project. And if my dad, Walter Lewis, was here, he would tell me not to tell this story, which is why I'm going to tell this story.
Okay.
We did the entire project. We filled up 2 semi-trailers full of Walter Lewis equipment, and we shipped it off to the aircraft carrier. And when we were all done, we tested it. Everything was great. It worked. The Navy called us. They said, wow, that's an amazing piece of equipment that you built. We're really thankful. We said, no problem. We'll be back in a month to do our final inspection. When we tried to go back there, we got a phone call that said, no, thank you. We don't need the final inspection. We're like, well, actually, there's a program here that
Right.
comes to back up the other program. You have to have this. And they said, no, we don't need it. Come to find out years later that those 2 pieces of equipment were not on the aircraft carrier after a week or 2. They were gone. And the only thing that we can think of is they were probably polishing off a nuclear reactor. And they just, since they're on wheels,
Right.
they just tip the thing over and just right into the water, right in the ocean.
Nuclear reactors require water.
I mean, I don't know. I'm speculating, but that thing was gone.
Yeah.
They paid millions of dollars for it, and then it never to be seen again. So you tell me. I don't know.
I don't know. So last question. How regulated are you? I mean, you're dealing with water. I would assume you're heavily regulated in terms of what you can and can't do.
We're heavily regulated. So
How do you keep up with all that, though?
it's really difficult.
Do you have somebody just in charge of that?
We do. The great Linda Reed Miles does a lot of that. Our lab director, Jen, our customer support specialist, Kathy Martin, from the Palmyra area. We have these 3 people in our office that are tenacious, that stay up with everything that's coming at them. So from
with
OSHA to the EPA, all the way across the board.
So with that in mind, are you backfilling and training these positions that you have? Because your job, what you do is sounds very specialized, and if you lose somebody, it could hurt. So are you constantly in the backfill training situation with your people you have coming in?
You know, I love that question, and I hate that question. It pains me so badly. I'll tell you. It is so difficult.
That's my job.
It is so
To pain you.
Yeah,
and
it's working. One of the things. So I'm the director of operations. I've been there. I first started working there when I was 13. I
Right.
got fired when I was 17. I got rehired when I was 32.
So your dad fired you.
He fired me for coming in late.
Okay. Well, all right.
And after he fired me, the next like 10, 15 jobs I had after that, both in high school, college, after college, everything, I did not arrive late to any of my jobs. And if I did, I would call and say, I'm going to be 3 minutes late. I'm so sorry. Never got fired again for being late. When I started working for Walter Lewis in 2008, when I came back, I moved from Chicago, from the city back to Quincy. I realized that if we don't do what's known as org knowledge, because that's what you're talking about. You're talking about
I don't know what org knowledge is, but yes, that's what I was asking
organizational
about.
knowledge.
Oh,
So you
yes,
have to
yes.
have lots of cross training in small businesses and large businesses too. The amount of and anybody who runs a small business in Quincy, you know that if you're not constantly being vigilant on making sure all of your people are cross-trained to do the same kind of tasks, and you're writing work instructions, and then you are finding corrective actions and finding root causes and all this ISO quality management crap, that's also super boring. But if you don't do that, you're screwed. So to answer your question,
it's the car wreck theory.
It's the car wreck theory. It's like if one of if one of our key people gets hit by the proverbial bus, we are in deep doo-doo. Luckily, we have lots of people that pretty much understand this, so we're constantly talking to each other, trying to cross-train. But are we super good at it all the time? We could work on it.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, Frankie Giesing with
Appreciate
Walter Lewis Fluid Technologies. This has been the Business Spotlight, brought to you by Mercantile Bank and Rober and Phillilps Attorneys at Law. I'm Ron Kinscherf.
Your financial needs aren't independent of each other, so your financial advisors shouldn't be either. At Mercantile Bank, our experienced United Wealth professionals are united to serve you and your complete financial planning and wealth management needs. Are you just starting your investment journey or need to roll over a retirement plan? Do you need to plan for a loved one with special needs or for your own life after work? Maybe your business needs a succession plan or you want to enhance your employee benefit programs. Whatever steps you need to take, our United Wealth experts are ready to take them with you. Together, we are united.